Hi guys, hope you guys are doing well. Today I have a Michael Burch boson, which is an ultralight model. And in the past, I've really harped on how good Michael's work is, how consistent his work is, and how he's a maker who consistently improves. And, it's present again on this knife. So I think we'll jump right in. Firstly, this blade steel is Damacor, and it's finished in a satin finish, which is very nice. Michael Burch's hand rub satin is very, very beautiful. The lines are very straight. And it brings out the pattern quite well, I'd say. Um, but the main, showpiece of this knife is actually on the frame itself, obviously. So the frame has a bunch of mother of pearl inlays. So let's start. Let's start on the pivot. The pivot is his own custom gold, anodized pivot, and he did a mother of pearl inlay, and it's also not like a flat inlay. It's been shaped down, which is really really cool. Also, the pivot collar, which is gear pattern, is also done with mother of pearl. That's really impressive as well. But the main showpiece is here, where he did an inlay of mother of pearl into the carbon fiber into what I believe is a titanium. I guess he did like a titanium lip, and then he inserted the mother of pearl inlays. Then he inlaid that into the carbon fiber frame. So he did that on both sides, which is really cool. And if you look closely, his work is just immaculate. It's perfectly straight. Um, Absolutely no gaps in between. So it's perfectly cut, perfectly fit. And again, similar to what I said with Emmanuel Esposito, there are some bits which are small, like this one and this one, which is the very, very impressive part about the inlays that I enjoy looking at. I feel like that's just an extra attention to detail, which I really love. And jumping onto the lock side, as you can see, this pocket clip has a carbon fiber wheel. So when you actually insert this into your pocket clip, this turns as well. And it works pretty well, to be honest. And I do like this than some of his other clips, just because it's easy to insert, and there's good retention. It stays in well, and it's easy to also take out. So yeah, that's really cool. If you noticed on my other piece, which was a Scaglione, it had the same type of carbon fiber, and this carbon fiber is super super nice. There are no voids, and it's very high quality. And this type of like weave original carbon fiber is actually better than a lot of the newer, carbon fiber pieces. Like, because especially when you turn it into a frame like this one is, which is a tablock construction where both sides are actually frames, and the lock is inside. Other carbon fiber pieces will fray more easily at the sides. If you hit it against something hard, it tends to chip and break more easily than the weave carbon fiber. So that's why he chose to work with what really is some of the strongest and best carbon fiber available. And I really appreciate that. I think it also looks very nice. And it has this shimmer, which goes along really well with the pearl as well. So really cool stuff. And as I mentioned, the tab lock construction is very very nice. He hasn't done this in too many of his knives, but tablock constructions are great because unlike a frame lock or a liner lock where actually when the lock is bent and supporting the blade, when you put pressure on the lock, you can make the lock move vertically like this or horizontally, I guess, like up and down facing us and then side to side. But when you have it in a tab construction, the carbon fiber piece actually kind of locks it in place. So the only side to side this way that it can move is actually towards the lock itself, but it can't move vertically too much, um, which is another problem where you know most locks need to have a certain level of thickness in order to make sure that this is not a problem and be built properly in a thicker frame. But with a tab lock, you can make it slim, which makes the overall weight lower. I believe this is around 2.5 ounces or so, maybe closer to 3 ounces, maybe 2.8. But it's a very lightweight knife for the size. It's still around a 3-inch blade, but the width is quite it's quite wide. The blade stock thickness is also really really quite thick. Oh, and when I mentioned the blade, I forgot to show you that the core is perfectly centered, and Michael pays a lot of attention to these things. So the grind, if you can have a look, very very symmetrical on both sides. He hand grinds his blades. Check out the plunge. The left and the right side is pretty much spot on. Very very good work. And in the past, actually, this is one of the improvements I've had. In the past, a lot of the Burch blade knives that I've had, they all have, I guess, thicker edges because it's a thicker knife, it's a stronger knife, it's really tough. It's like one of the more solid folding knives that you'll hold. There'll be no movement whatsoever on any side, but they'll also have a thicker edge, so it's not a slicer. But this one in particular, it cuts really really well. So I'm really happy to see that on this one. It's a real slicer, so you don't have to worry about a thicker blade stock and not cutting, because this one will cut. All right. As for the action, it's on washers, and again, Michael doesn't make too many knives on washers. This one is on washers, and it's goes out really easily. Ergonomics. It's a smaller knife, so you can only put 3 fingers here and one more at the back edge, and then there's a really nice big place where you can put your thumb where you want to do some hard cutting. But really, this knife, again, for the size, carbon fiber build, it'll do its job. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to show you around another Michael Burch knife, but overall it's a really really lovely piece. And thank you so much, Michael, for making and innovating in your own way and trying out something different, because it's been a while since I've seen him work with mother of pearl like this, and there are newer builds where he does something different all the time, which is really really cool. So yeah, that's about it. I think if you do like a Michael Burch design, because I feel like that's his designs are a little polarizing, but if you do like it, I like this one. I highly recommend you try one out, because especially a newer build, it's super consistent, and the mechanics is flawless. Yeah, it's like super solid. You know, when it's locked, you can't really move it side to side at all. It's just super solid. So yeah. All right, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching again. See you next time.